From ABC, this is World News Tonight. From our desk in Washington, Frank Reynolds.
Good evening, and in many parts of the country, good riddance to the old year. 1982 is coming to an end with a rapidly rising high water mark across several southern states and a brand new snowstorm in the southwest. So this New Year's Eve is a time not only for caution, but concern as well for thousands who face severe weather problems tonight. We begin with this report from Dennis Trout in Louisiana, where flooding is the major problem.
Homeowners in Monroe, led by National Guardsmen and helped by local prisoners released from jail to do volunteer disaster relief work, sandbagged levees endlessly to try to save this neighborhood from threatening floodwaters. Just a little more rain could put them under. They're in trouble as it is because of backwater from canals and bayous, which has nowhere to go. The 65 prisoners involved seem delighted to be good Samaritans for a while.
If we don't get it under control, then this thing may break loose, and we may have to suffer a great loss, you know. So it's a privilege to be out here to try to get this thing under control.
4 days ago, National Guardsmen came as workmen, laying sandbags. Now they're instructors, showing others how it's done.
Been at it since Monday. Most of us have been working 18 on and 6 off. We're tired.
Louisiana Governor David Treen toured the worst-hit areas of his state. Nearly 7,000 people here have been driven from their homes during the past week of storms. Some have returned, but 1,700 remain homeless. Now other new victims are straining state resources with their demands for help. In Monroe alone, officials estimate flood damage at $81 million. Statewide, storm damage is said to be the greatest in 20 years. Adjacent states, especially Arkansas, have had equally severe weather problems from a combination of rain and tornadoes. Repairs in Arkansas could run to more than $400 million. In Mississippi, floodwaters have washed out bridges, flooded homes, forced evacuations, and killed livestock. Either rainfall or backwater is virtually certain to cause further property damage in these areas. So nothing on the scale of what's taken place already. Recovery and relief in Arkansas, Mississippi, and Louisiana will take months at least. Dennis Trout, ABC News, Monroe, Louisiana.
The snowstorm that swept through Arizona and New Mexico yesterday dumped a half a foot of snow on northern Texas today. El Paso's International Airport in the so-called Sun City was closed to inbound flights, and several inches of snow and freezing rain fell on the Dallas-Fort Worth area and also on some parts of Oklahoma. Well, Dr. Richard Hallgren is the director of the National Weather Service, and he is in his headquarters right now, just outside Washington. Dr. Hallgren, this is getting pretty serious. Which part of the country are you most concerned about right now?
Well, we're focusing on the southeastern part of the United States and those 3 states that already have extensive flooding. And as you can see, we're monitoring it on the satellite here. The storm system is down over the Gulf, but rain is spreading up over the area. In Louisiana and Texas, both have lots of rain, and the heaviest rain is now spreading up, as you can see through this black area as it moves up across Louisiana.
Dr. Hallgren, when is it going to get better? Is there relief in sight? Can you see an end to it?
Well, they're going to have another day or day and a half of rain down there, and we're forecasting up to 2 inches in the area, and on top of that flooding that already exists, it is really a very, very serious problem. We're also seeing that on our radar at Lake Charles, Louisiana. You can see the green color and the blue reflecting a huge area of precipitation that's now raining over a very large area at the present time.
And you expect that to continue, too, for some time?
Yes, that's the same rain, and we expect that to continue for the next day, day and a half, and gradually move off the coast sometime on Sunday.
What a way to begin the new year. Well, thank you very much, Dr. Hallgren, for taking the time to talk with us and enlighten us about this situation, particularly tonight. Thank you very much, Dr. Hallgren. Later in this broadcast, I'll have a look at this year, now fast fading away. We'll also have a report on the new drug packaging regulations and on what the drug industry is doing about them, and a preview of tomorrow's showdown battle between the 2 top teams in college football.
ABC's World News Tonight is brought to you by Sanka Brand Decaffeinated Coffee.
What kind of people drink Sanka Brand? People like Virginia Buckland, horse trainer.
Horses can sense if you're nervous. That's why I have to stay in control. So I really look forward to relaxing with a cup of Sanka Brand decaffeinated coffee. A cup of Sanka, please.
As usual.
Ah, that's good. And it's 97% caffeine-free, so it's perfect for me anytime, anywhere.
Sanka brand for people who love coffee but not caffeine.
Is that the new Publishers Clearinghouse sweepstakes you just got?
Mm-hmm.
How come you haven't sent it in?
Contests are just gimmicks. That's what I used to think.
Oh, you have to be dumb to enter contests.
That's what I used to think.
I don't think anybody ever wins.
That's what I used to think.
You know that new Publishers Clearinghouse sweepstakes you just got? What's your reason for not sending it in? Lots of Clearinghouse winners used to think that, too. Come on, send it in.
New developments today in the latest case of poisoned pain relief capsules. Now, this one involves a man in California now charged with attempting to poison his wife. He told police his wife became ill after taking Anacin capsules. Ken Kashiwahara has this report.
29-year-old Richard Bowen was arraigned in a Santa Clara County court today on an attempted murder charge. He was arrested yesterday and is being held without bail. Bowen's attorney, Melvin Belli, asked the judge to set bail at $15,000, but the judge refused. Earlier this month, Bowen told police his wife, Susan, may have been poisoned by cyanide-laced Anacin 3 capsules purchased at this drugstore. Because of Bowen's claim, Anacin 3 capsules were pulled from store shelves throughout the area and analyzed in laboratories. And while cyanide was found in a bottle Bowen had purchased, no other bottle showed any trace of the poison. After an investigation, police said Anacin capsules were not the source of the poison and arrested Bowen. In a newspaper interview, Bowen admitted he had a history of violence against women in his family, but denied trying to poison his wife. Today, he declined to enter a plea to the charge, but is expected to do so next week. Ken Kashiwahara, ABC News, San Francisco.
In Chicago, Mrs. Leanne Lewis has been released on bail. Mrs. Lewis's husband is charged with attempted extortion from the makers of Tylenol, although neither he nor his wife is suspected of involvement in the actual Tylenol poisonings last fall. When it was discovered that some Tylenol capsules had been laced with cyanide, causing 7 deaths in the Chicago area, the federal government ordered new steps to make all prescription drugs tamper-resistant. Carol Simpson has this report on how the drug industry, including Tylenol, has responded.
3 months ago, Tylenol products disappeared from store shelves, and some market analysts predicted that the nation's once largest selling pain reliever would never recover. But within the past few days, Tylenol extra-strength capsules have begun to reappear in some stores.
The brand has come back to a share level, just about 94% of the share level it held before the poisonings.
In mid-September, before the cyanide poisonings, surveys of sales in 4 U.S. cities showed Tylenol with a nearly 47% share of the dollar sales of pain relievers. In the week following the Chicago deaths, sales plummeted to 6.5%. But as of mid-December, sales were back up to 44%.
Consumers have realized that it really wasn't Tylenol's fault. It wasn't a product performance problem as such, that the poisonings were really, it could have, put it this way, it could have happened to any brand.
Because it could have happened to any brand, the Food and Drug Administration is requiring tamper-resistant packaging on all non-prescription drugs. By early February, all capsules and liquids must meet the regulation, as well as eye drops, contact lens solutions, mouthwashes, and feminine hygiene solutions. By May, tablets and suppositories must comply. And by February of 1984, all 300,000 different over-the-counter products must be sold in safer packages. But the makers of Tylenol didn't wait for the federal regulation. Starting Sunday night, this new television commercial will begin to saturate the airwaves.
I feel as good about Tylenol now as I ever did, and we'll continue to use it.
And now reintroducing Tylenol capsules, safety sealed 3 ways. The carton is securely glued, the cap is tightly wrapped, the bottle is foil sealed.
Tylenol not only becomes the first pain reliever on the market with new tamper-resistant packaging, but it goes farther than the federal government required by having 3 separate safety seals. Tylenol's competitors are reluctant to discuss their packaging plans, but it's clear Tylenol has now set the standard. Carol Simpson, ABC News, Washington.
The Commerce Department today released its industrial outlook for next year and predicted a moderate economic recovery, with several large industries, construction, autos, steel, making gains over this year's performance. The stock market ended its busiest year in history today with extremely light trading. The Dow Jones Industrial Average down less than 1 full point. Only about 42 million shares changed hands.
Roger Staubach for Rolaids.
How do you spell relief?
R-O-L-A-I-D-S. I hate to admit it, but I eat a lot of greasy foods.
For acid indigestion, I spell it R-O-L-A-I-D-S.
Rolaids really does spell relief.
Like a sponge, Rolaids antacid medicine consumes 100% of the acid required to give millions 100% relief.
How do you spell relief?
I spell relief R-O-L-A-I-D-S.
All right.
For millions of Americans, Rolaids spells 100% relief.
We asked Kathy Edge if she thought her denture cleanser could clean away cherry stain.
Probably could.
What about a stain of cherry and tea?
I don't think it would do a job on that.
Or a triple stain of cherry, tea, and tobacco?
I'd say definitely not.
Then watch Extra Strength Efferdent attack a triple stain of cherry, tea, and even tough tobacco with Efferdent's powerful Blue Action formula.
It's whiter than I could ever imagine. Sparkling clean in between. I'm going to use Efferdent.
Extra Strength Efferdent removes even stubborn stains between teeth.
She's back. She's back.
The Mustang convertible is back. The convertible with a power top, glass back window, and room for four.
She's back. She's back. She's back. She's back on the right track. Now that's a fact. She's back.
The Mustang convertible. The hottest news around because it's more than a convertible. It's a Mustang. Right, Sally?
She's back. Oh, have you driven a Ford lately?
The Overtown area of Miami was quiet today as the cleanup continued. The video game room where the violence began on Tuesday was reopened. And several blocks from Overtown, preparations went ahead for tonight's annual Orange Bowl parade. About 500,000 people are expected along the parade route, which has been slightly changed because of the disturbances this week. The Orange Bowl Stadium is also just a few blocks from the area. It's the site of tomorrow's game between Nebraska and LSU. However, a big game tomorrow is in New Orleans, the Sugar Bowl. Number 1 ranked Georgia faces number 2 ranked Penn State. And Ray Gandalf has this preview.
For jaded old New Orleans, the Sugar Bowl is just a tune-up for Mardi Gras. For legions of Georgia Bulldog fans, it's pure heaven. How about them dogs? For outnumbered Penn State fans, it's the last test before the Holy Grail. Tomorrow night, inside the huge concrete and steel carbuncle known as the Superdome, a rare event will occur. The top 2 college football teams will meet for the national championship. The bookies are betting that Penn State's arsenal can overcome Georgia's cannon, even when the cannon is Herschel Walker, this year's Heisman Trophy winner and very possibly the best running back there ever was. Walker, a junior, holds 30 school records, 15 conference records, 10 national records, and he can win 10 more before he graduates. Penn State claims to be ready for him.
He's just another running back. We're just going to go out and be a Penn State defense and, swarm them.
I think when they tackle me, I'm going to attack them. And I think that's where the big collision going to start. Because I think I can dish out just as much punishment as a defensive guy could dish out on me.
Georgia quarterback John Lastinger is capable of sporadic glory, but mostly he's known as the guy who hands the ball to Herschel.
If you looked at the individual statistics, I hadn't really been too impressive.
Todd Blackledge, on the other hand, is an eminent passer and a 4-star general who knows what the objective is.
In all the years that Coach Paterno's been at Penn State, nobody's won a national championship there.
In 17 seasons at Penn State, Coach Joe Paterno has never been number 1, despite several unbeaten seasons and winning more than 80% of his games. In about 26 hours, this place will be bedlam, and Georgia will win its 2nd national championship in 3 years, or Penn State will finally catch up with the Grail. One more thing. The sugar in the Sugar Bowl game comes to about $1.8 million apiece for the 2 schools, win, lose, or draw. And that's why football coaches make a whole lot more money than English professors. Ain't it the truth? Ray Gandalf, ABC News, New Orleans.
This afternoon in Atlanta, Iowa beat Tennessee in the Peach Bowl 28-22. Iowa's quarterback Chuck Long led the way with 19 completions, 3 of them touchdown passes, including this one to Dave Moritz, which went for 57 yards. At the Hall of Fame in Alabama, Air Force beat Vanderbilt 36-28. And it looks as though there will be football Monday night in Minneapolis. A new 250-foot-long fabric panel was finished today in Buffalo to replace the one torn inadvertently by snow removal crews the other day. Officials at the Metrodome expect to have it in place by Sunday afternoon. The NFL says that if for some reason the stadium roof is not repaired, the game between Minnesota and Dallas will be played under another dome Monday night at the Superdome in New Orleans.
Joan, where can I find a good stereo for the office?
I'll find out.
Save time and energy. The Bell System Yellow Pages talks when you let your fingers do the walking.
Avon, complete line of office supplies.
Sam's Stereo.
Doctor?
Sam's Stereo. Sensational sounds abound.
That's remarkable.
No, sensational. I'm Sam.
Get the Yellow Pages talking.
Sensational.
Let your fingers do the walking.
Stay right where you are, folks. You may be the winner of $1 million. This is Ed McMahon. I urge you to watch your mail for $1 million message from me. Look for the envelope with my name and your name on it from American Family Publishers. If you receive this envelope, you may already be the winner of $1 million. I will personally award this giant prize. So look for your $1 million envelope this week. Be sure it's from American Family Publishers. It could make you a millionaire.
Finally, after years of development, the makers of Neosynephrine are proud to give you even longer-lasting relief for your stuffy nose. Incredible Neosynephrine 12-hour. Absolutely nothing you can buy is stronger or lasts longer than Neosynephrine 12-hour. It lets you breathe freely all day. Get Neosynephrine 12-hour. Nothing is stronger. Nothing lasts longer.
What kind of people drink Sanka brand? People like Joe Zabrowski, underwater welder.
I love my coffee, but too much caffeine makes me tense. Down here, I can't afford that. So I drink Sanka brand decaffeinated coffee. In this sea air, hot coffee tastes especially good. And Sanka brand's 100% real coffee. So for me, it's just smart to drink Sanka brand.
Sanka brand, for people who love coffee, but not caffeine.
All over this country tonight, there seems to be a new and certainly overdue emphasis on the dangers of drunk driving. In many cities, free bus and taxi rides home will be provided for those who have too much to drink. And in several states, new laws will go into effect at midnight to provide stiff penalties for anybody caught driving while drunk. But even apart from the liquor connection, there is more awareness now of automobile safety. Stone Phillips has this report from Minneapolis.
Winter driving in Minneapolis can be dangerous, but serious accidents happen here year-round.
People here are horrendous drivers. They speed, they don't watch where they're going, they cut in front of you.
But the chances that one of these drivers will be involved in a serious or fatal accident have been significantly reduced. The number of traffic deaths here has dropped 67% in the last 2 years, from 41 in 1980 to just 14 this year, making Minneapolis the nation's leader in the reduction of traffic fatalities. Police say it's the result of a new program to concentrate their enforcement efforts at intersections where traffic violations and accidents occur most frequently. What's unique about the program is that police are using a computer to tell them where those intersections are and when police should be there.
We used to do it by humans. They used to code them, catalog them, list them. The information, by the time you got it, was invalid.
The computer told police that for 4 years in a row, this intersection was the worst in the city. Warning signs went up, and after 3 months of saturation patrolling, it isn't even in the top 30. The intersection of Lyndale and Franklin is now the #1 target. On a recent night, Sergeant Dave Niebuhr ticketed 2 drivers for violations within 15 minutes.
On Minneapolis, traffic enforcement used to be somewhat of a joke. The 15 officers in this unit now are writing the same amount of moving traffic violations as when there were 78 officers working full-time in the traffic division.
The ultimate goal of the project is to change driving habits, not just in these target areas, but throughout the city, especially at times like New Year's Eve, when people aren't always thinking about safety. Stone Phillips, ABC News, Minneapolis.
contest, you have to wait so long to find out if you won, you wonder whether anyone even won at all. Well, at Publishers Clearinghouse, we want you to know. And on March 15th, we're going to announce it on TV. Who won a dream house? Who won a luxury car? Who won our incredible super prize?
And our $250,000 winner is...
So watch your mail for the new Publishers Clearinghouse sweepstakes and enter. We want to make you a winner.
No, I'm single, really.
Really?
Really.
Hey, Jack, who's your friend, eh? who's the old choppers, eh?
I've got to do something about those loose spots.
Fixodent helps fix loose spots. Fixodent spreads evenly, filling tiny gaps between dentures and gum with ingredients that give added dimension to holding.
Here comes your friend.
No problem now. And neither are my loose spots.
Hi, Jack. How's the wife, huh? Just kidding. Just kidding.
Today's Fixodent helps fix loose spots.
This is the last acid indigestion you'll ever treat with a spoon. Because all the acid neutralization in a spoon of regular Maalox or Mylanta now is concentrated in a brand new tablet. New Tums EX.
Tums EX.
EX stands for extra strength. Liquid strength. Without the spoon. Extra strength. Tums EX.
Tums EX.
So here we are, about to bid adieu to 82. The good times and the bad, and as usual, there were both. Let's take a few minutes for one last and quick look back. 1982 started off in record-breaking style as Americans shivered through the coldest day of the 20th century. It was also a tragic time for aviation.
We overshot the runway, and I saw that we weren't stopping.
But from the midst of tragedy, a bystander sprang from the crowd in Washington and became a hero. And in Italy, a rescue of another sort took place. In February, Iran took the offensive in the war with Iraq. An incredible array of stars put on a dazzling display, but the picture wasn't so bright for an air industry upstart.
Lake no longer exists.
In March, elections brought a record turnout and new conflict in El Salvador. Perpetrators of violence paid the price.
With the conviction of Wayne Williams, we've cleared 23 cases.
And Oscar paid tribute to two special people. In April, in the Sinai, Israelis fought Israelis, while on the other side of the globe,
an Argentine military attack on Port Stanley in the Falkland Islands has taken place.
In May, Britain reacted to Argentina's challenge and fought to recapture the Falklands. But while the battle for the Falklands still raged, a socialite and a movie star lost their freedom. At age 43, Gaylord Perry won his 300th game, and another maverick of the skies fell victim to the high cost of flying. In June, terrorists felled an Israeli diplomat in London, and Israel responded by invading Lebanon. We saw more winners and losers. Holmes KO'd Cooney. ERA lost its battle against time. John Hinckley, seen by the world shooting at the president, won a controversial verdict of not guilty by reason of insanity.
That you accept.
Haig surrendered his job, and Schultz got the nod. The British hailed their new prince, and the president's battle for support in Europe met strong opposition. In July 2000, Moonies exchanged marriage vows. In Rome, scandal hit the Vatican Bank. In New Orleans, 154 people died in the year's second major air disaster. In France, vacation tragedy claimed the lives of 44 children. In London, IRA terrorists struck down the Royal Guard. And in Beirut, Israel continued to pound the PLO.
We shall not tolerate even one terrorist in Lebanon.
August brought hope to Lebanon. A new president elected. Peacekeeping forces dispatched to oversee the PLO evacuation.
In no case will our troops stay longer than 30 days.
The standoff ended as Arafat and the PLO left Beirut. In September, violence returned to Lebanon. Assassins struck down President-elect Bashir Gemayel, and his brother took his place. Hundreds of Palestinians died in a bloody massacre about which questions still remain. In Bonn, Germany changed chancellors. In America, 7 died as a painkiller became a murder weapon.
There is just a very big fear with the Tylenol product at this point in time.
Football stadiums were quiet.
There will be no practices, workouts,
or training.
In October, the World Series gave baseball fans their last hurrah as the Cardinals won their first championship in 15 years. Prince Andrew's vacation caused talk, and the president silenced a critic.
In spite of the tax increase, shut up.
November brought a new regime to Russia. Former KGB chief Yuri Andropov took over as the world watched. America went to the polls, and President Reagan may have lost a working majority in the House. Drug charges and desperation brought down the captain of a crumbling auto empire. A death blow stunned the boxing world. America at last honored its Vietnam dead with a monument in Washington. Polls celebrated Lech Wałęsa's release. And finally, football fans had reason to cheer. In December, Ted Kennedy made a tough decision.
I will not be a candidate for the presidency of the United States in 1984.
And a one-man anti-nuclear protest ended in death at the Washington Monument. Teamster President Roy Williams was convicted of conspiring to bribe a senator.
I didn't do nothing.
100,000 laid-off workers struggled through Christmas with $300 gift checks from General Motors. A lame duck Congress almost missed Christmas before making a deal with the president on the MX and passing a 5-cent gasoline tax increase. It was a year of Reaganomics and recession, the highest unemployment since the Great Depression, at least 12 million Americans out of work, bankruptcies and foreclosures rose to record levels, the Social Security system was in jeopardy, but Wall Street hit record highs and took sharp dives. It was a year in which many who had made their mark left us. But it was a year in which man's achievements raised our hopes for the future. The shuttle carried its first paying payload into space. An artificial heart pumped life into a human body. And we watched man conquer mighty Mount Everest. And new phenomena made their marks in 1982. Electronic monsters gobbled up everything in sight. Valley girls sprang up in California.
Ready to the map.
Rockabilly returned from the 50s. Time magazine's Man of the Year wasn't a man at all, but a computer, and an extraterrestrial captured the hearts of millions. And made millions, too. E.T. may have made more sense than most of us on this planet. Didn't hurt anybody. Well, anyway, for Peter Jennings, Max Robinson, everybody in the mailroom, all the men and women of ABC News, this is Frank Reynolds. We hope you have a happy, prosperous, and peaceful New Year. And good night from Washington.
Tomorrow, can Heisman winner Herschel Walker and unbeaten Georgia coach Joe Paterno's hopes for his first national championship when Georgia meets Penn State in the Sugar Bowl? Tomorrow on ABC.
In the news tonight, a bad day for Tennessee's football fans. Both the Vols and Vandy will have long rides home from their bowl games.
And authorities are ready to make everyone's ride home from New Year's Eve festivities as safe as possible.